Cry on demand. Okay, this is a fun video. I feel that this is something that everybody always wants to do in acting and everybody always asks. I've had a lot of questions on my TikTok about this, of like how to cry on demand. And I thought, why not also address it on my YouTube community? Because some directors will eat it up like no tomorrow. Some will love it all the time. Some not so much about it, but it is something nice to have in your back pocket that if you are capable of doing it and adding it to your work, it does create a bit more of an enhancement. Now, I'm going to give you 4 ways to cry on demand that are not the fake bullshit stuff where it's like you put drops in there and that's it. No, I mean, no judgment if that's what you do. I've seen people do it and I get it. Sometimes you got to do it, but this is something I'm going to give you that is coming from within, that is within like you grounding yourself and breathing and connecting to the work and then coming out. Because if you are filming a close-up, I'm talking like literal straight head, you can tell when someone is fake crying or legitimately feeling the work and feeling the lines that they're saying, and then they end up crying. The first method that I recommend when it comes to crying on cue is substitution method. It is taking something that you were talking about in the story and then you're substituting that thought or person or character or whatever with something that really touches you and affects you. So for example, let's say you're very close with your mom, okay? And you are at a funeral and you have to imagine that your best friend died. And I've never had a friend or a best friend died. I don't know what that feeling is like. I hope to God I never have to know what that's like, but I really want to connect to what is happening in that scene. So maybe the thought of my mom dying would really affect me. So then I would literally sit there and think about that and almost put in my mind that it's not my best friend that just passed away, it's my mom. And then that would essentially create this almost like a substitution method that gets the work clicking and going. And then as the lines go on, you start to kind of get very taken over the thoughts of the person that you are substituting has actually passed away. I did this method particular in an audition that I was auditioning for a feature film. It was an indie feature film and I was a wife and a mother and I had my child stolen from me, like they were kidnapped, and I was on the phone with the guy who kidnapped my kid. Don't worry, mommy will be here soon with a big present, but it'll be for me. I'm not a mom, I've never had a kid. I don't know what's it like to lose a child and like go through that feeling of having your child kidnapped. So for me, I actually use the substitution method, particularly in this audition, because it really helped me substitute my kid into thinking that like my mother was kidnapped or my boyfriend was kidnapped or someone that very close to me that would really affect me and touch my heart, that they were gone. And then that way the substitution method started to really connect within the work for me. And then I actually started to really like get emotional about it and cry. The second method that I recommend is the backstory method. Kind of similar to what the substitution method is. Backstory story, I should say, is more in-depth than the substitution. The substitution is something that you can kind of do on the spot, just thinking about the person that you're substituting. Backstory method is when you legitimately sit down, you write it all out, and you write an entire backstory of the character that you are thinking about. So you're not actually substituting this character. So let's say if you are actually thinking about a boyfriend, in the storyline, legitimately in the audition, you're not gonna substitute that boyfriend for your dad. That's not gonna happen. You're gonna take the fake boyfriend that you have in the storyline and you're gonna create an entire backstory for him. The who, what, where, when, why, how did you meet? What was your relationship like? Did you enjoy the relationship? Where was your first date? Where was your first kiss? How many years have you been together? All that kind of stuff, because this creates a really deep connection with the character, and it helps you to understand what goes on in the scene. So if you're having a big fight with your boyfriend, like, is this the 10th time you're fighting about the same topic? Or is this the first time you're talking about this topic? Like, how affected are you? If it's the 10th time, I probably would have been like, I'm so done with this. I don't want to talk about it anymore because we've had a conversation about this 10 times. Maybe if it's the first time, it really ticks me off because it's my first time having this argument with my partner and it really affects me. So this kind of creates a storyline for you, and then you can really sit and ride on the storyline as long as you're breathing, you are grounded. And then that will allow you to sort of really connect to what the lines are saying and to what the story you have written for you and the character and the relationship you have between them. I did this one particular backstory method when I was auditioning for also another feature film, and it was actually like a feature film about like a rock band or something, and I was the rock band like lead singer. I was his girlfriend, and I ended up becoming pregnant, and I didn't want to tell him, and I had to do this whole backstory because one of the scenes that I was auditioning for, it was him not knowing yet that I was pregnant, and he finds me vomiting in the bathroom in like one of the like backstage of one of the concerts. Why do I not want to tell him? Like, am I too afraid? Like, does he maybe have a huge tour coming up? Maybe he is not even really a boyfriend. Maybe he's just like a fun fling I'm on a tour with. Like, what exactly is going on? I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Great timing, huh? Do whatever you want. Finish the show. I was able to connect to the work that I've written out because it was truthful. Like, I'm not also, you don't want to go over the top exaggeration, you know, like you don't want to go super ham on it. You want to do like just normal basics, a sentence for each question. And that allowed me to really sit there. And then when I did the audition, I really connected to like keeping a biggest secret ever. Like, that really taunted inside of me, and I didn't like that feeling, and it actually almost gave me like an anxiety attack. And as a result, this started to come out, and then I started to really allow the tears flow out. The third way to cry on demand. This is actually my favorite way of crying. This is my favorite way of connecting to the work. This one just really, to be honest, resonates the most with me. The other ones are great as well, but this one I find is my easiest go-to, no problem. You're basically, what you're doing is you're meditating, and you're meditating into a state where you are completely creating like almost like a bubble around you, and this will help you to really connect with the work. You want to find a space, very low lit, almost dark room. You're by yourself, nobody else is in there. You are just kind of like in your own zone. You're gonna close your eyes. Music really helps me in that method as well, like very sad, somber music really gets me in the mood as well. You're gonna sit cross-legged, and you're going to really concentrate on the breathing. You're gonna wanna count to 4, breathing in, hold for 2 seconds, and then breathe out for 4. And you wanna continuously do that. This allows you to, first of all, calm your nerves, huge if you're very excited. I remember when I booked my short film and I had to be so in my zone of sadness and everything, and I couldn't do it because I was so overly excited that I'm in this short film. First time on set, I booked it, I'm so excited, and I had a really hard time like almost like bringing myself back down to earth. So I did this method, is that I went and found a corner in the room. There was people around me, but they knew what I was doing. And this is the other thing that you're gonna know. Everybody on set knows that when an actor is about to go film and they have their own practice, nobody touches you. Nobody comes to you. They know that you need your time. They're gonna wait for you, and that's fine. Obviously, don't take an hour trying to connect to your work when you're about to go film, but you can take a few moments to kind of get yourself going. They're not gonna touch you because they know that you're in the zone. They're not gonna talk to you. They might have to come and mic you, whatever, blah, blah, but they're very, very, like, production people are purposely trained to know that an actor is in the zone, you do not touch them. So as you're breathing and you're taking the time for yourself to connect, you want to really bring yourself in a state of like almost like a serenity, but in a sense of also like a very deep sadness. I actually am not gonna lie, what really gets me is when I sit in the state, I ask myself, what is it that you really want in this world? Like, what is it that you long for so much that you would do anything to have it? And I honestly just say is to be a well-known artist. And because I'm not there at that point and I've had such a difficult journey with it, it really hits me hard, and I just start like crying because it's all the pain that I'm holding in my chest of wanting to be seen as an artist and want to be there as an artist, and I want to be financially stable as an artist. It's all here that it just comes out and it flows out of me.
My husband really bad stone fruit allergy.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Did he
die? No. He's fine. We're all fine. It's just a lifetime of being fine until I age into my mother. Earn this red hat. Excuse me.
This is a really good method to use if you already have to start the scene at a very high level of sadness. Like if you don't have to get to the point, it's always good to meditate to where it's right here so you can keep it. So when the scene starts, you can, do your lines, and then as the lines progress, you're already in that state of meditation that it just flows out of you. So this one's a good one where it's, you can start it in the beginning, or if you really work the muscle and train the muscle to become muscle memory, I now can meditate where I keep it right in here and I let it ride the entire scene up until the very last moment when I just have an outburst of tears, and then it lets out. Took me a while to get to that point, to be honest, because I had a hard time where it's either I'm not crying or I'm like bawling my eyes out, and I had to find the medium. But this is where you do acting classes, this is where you train, and this is where you work that acting muscle, where you will then understand where's the middle, like where can I cap it, hold my tears here, and then wait for them to come out when it's the perfect moment in the script. The last method that I recommend is actually fake yourself going into an anxiety attack or panic mode. I do not recommend this for people who are unable to not be able to clock out that this is not real right now, that you're acting, because you can really go into a dark spot that you don't mean to, and then it just goes spiral downhill from there. I actually did this specifically when I had to do an audition for a girl that I don't remember, I was being chased in the forest by a killer from what I understand. And in the audition, I had to come in the state of like, where is he? I can't find him. And I'm like breathing because it's dark and it's the forest and I'm lost and everything. And I'm like heavy breathing. It's hard to start off an audition like that, especially if you're not actually panicking and you're breathing really heavy. So I'm not kidding what I did. I literally ran around my parents' block like 3 times. I got myself so out of breath. And I actually listened to like scary movie music of like, kind of like that, music where I thought that somebody was legitimately chasing me. When I came out to do the audition, I actually started to purposely hyperventilate so then I can feel the panic that someone would feel when they're in a flight or fight response, is what you're trying to do. This tricks your brain into thinking that you're actually in a flight or fight response. You need to remember that you're not actually in it, so you're acting, so you don't really give yourself like a full-blown panic attack, but that's kind of what you're doing, because then the tears start to come because your body's like reacting, being like, what's happening? I don't understand. I can't do this. Like, oh my God. And then it kind of goes from there. This is my method I would recommend for people who have already tried the other methods and can be able to tell the difference between when you're actually acting and not acting. I've seen actors in class who go for this method who I feel that are not necessarily ready to go to this method, and then they actually have an anxiety attack and they cannot get out of it after the scene is done, and they believe that what happened to them in the scene is like very triggering and actually legitimately happened to them. And then that's where things can get very messy for your mental health, and you don't want to go down that route. So I recommend doing this one last, once you've done all the other methods as well. Sometimes one method will work for someone else and another method will work for someone else, but it doesn't mean that it's gonna work for everybody. So try different methods in your work. Honeys, I want you to remember that through all of these 4 methods, you wanna be breathing through all of them. Like, breathing is so important when it comes to acting. If you are not breathing, if you are tense, if you're holding it all together, nothing's gonna work. Like, nothing's gonna come out. No crying, no tears, no emotionale is gonna come out of you. You need to be breathing. You need to be grounded. and you want to be connected to what you're saying. Because the minute that you're fake about it and you're not actually in the scene for real, then it's not gonna work. Okay, honeys, don't forget to comment down below which is your favorite way of crying on cue. I hope these methods work. Let me know in the comments below. I love you, and let me know, honeys, what video do you wanna see next? What do you want me to talk about in this beautiful, crazy acting industry? I love you, honeys, and I'm gonna see you all next Friday. Bye!